This is the difference between success and failure as it relates to advancement. Let's jump in on this. There's 3 phases, you may recall. Phase 1, of course, is planning. The more time we spend here on the bottom, the quicker we get to goal. The harder part is cultivation, which is sometimes where nonprofits drop off. But if we do planning and cultivation correctly, solicitation just is very natural. It occurs contemporaneously. With that being said, management philosophy. The book, Reimagining Philanthropy, which we're going to get you a copy of this morning at the next break, the book, Reimagining Philanthropy, tackles this entire issue of management philosophy. And what are we grabbing there? What priority does capacity building play in your organization? Who is your primary customer? It is the donor, in that they're the individuals with the resources that are actually purchasing a stake in your organization. We also understand there's different approaches to fundraising, and we want to understand that we want to help a donor accomplish their personal goals by aligning themselves, by co-laboring with you, by volunteering with you, face mask to face mask, shoulder to shoulder, as you tackle something that's important. Then we have, of course, major gifts ramp up, major gifts fundraising itself. You can look at direct mail, you can look at telephone campaigns, we can look at special event fundraising, and we understand that the highest percent, the highest return on investment in the shortest period of time possible with the least amount of cost investment is major gifts fundraising. One more note here. Remember that our statistical surveys with Clemson University indicated that 90% of nonprofits have a mission statement, 50% have a vision statement, 30% have a strategic plan that's written, only 12% of nonprofits have a written fundraising plan. And we're all here together for a couple of days, and we get to walk out of here with a concise written fundraising plan that we'll be able to adapt and customize to you. Third, organizational development. OD, institution-wide, we used to call it strategic planning, a lot of baggage there. It's really important when we do case for support to understand that case for support is based on numbers that have integrity. Organizational development allows us to understand all the monies that we have to spend, how we're going to spend them, the things that we're going to purchase, whether that's salaries, ongoing operations, that could be associated with endowment, it could be one-time capital projects. But doing institution-wide organizational development helps us understand exactly what our needs are, the order in which they need to be met, and if they are met in this order and funded properly, it expands our statement of mission. This is all then expressed romantically in case for support, that great dream backed by a sound plan. With all of this work being done, we then can sit down and we can create task maps for every spot in the model. There are 13 spots in the model, there are 13 task maps. We take 18 months worth of calendar dates, 6 90-day at-a-glance calendars. We put all of these different tasks working our way back from campaign completion at the 18-month mark all the way to the month that we're in. And we're able to look into the matrix. And the most important part about that matrix is that we put it up there in a way that works for your organization. Jimmy, I have no staff. Well, there's a way to build a task map because you have just started your nonprofit. Jimmy, we are a super mega nonprofit. We're an institutional nonprofit, and we have 30 fields officers. That changes what goes up on the task map. We have a board that's 5 people, and we have staff that are 3 people. That changes the task map. But what's great about the bottom here, all of this planning, is that when we sit down with a donor, we have a business plan and organizational development, we have it summarized in case for support, and then our advancement calendar, digitized, allows us to show them a fundraising plan. It's not that we hope to raise this money, here's how we're going to reach goal. Planning, planning, planning. Now, we move to the second level, cultivation. We've done all this planning. Who do we take it to? How do we find out who the major donor prospects are in our area? Some of them are in your file already. You may or may not know it, but you take your Rolodex and you upload it to DonorScope. And we append, we attach to your data a person's home value, their net worth, their annual income, their age, the number of children that may be in their home. So we're able to append data to your existing file. But some of you are saying, Jimmy, I don't have a file at all. I know that you do actually because you have a cell phone and there's contacts in it, But with that being said, you'll say, I don't have a file. So you can go to DonorScope and you can put in a zip code set, zip code area, and do a radius search and actually identify with the names and addresses of every individual of net worth who's given to culture and charity, who has a home value of $500,000 or more. The other thing we do in Chapter 6, prospect identification, is we compile. We look at the Tocqueville Society members, we look at Rotary, we see who's serving on the Hospital Foundation Board, who's serving on the State Museum, and we compile all the known public information from the annual reports and the World Wide Web, and it goes on and on and on. This way we've got all of this amazing information, we've got case for support, we've got an organizational development plan, a fundraising plan, but now we finally have a group of people to take it to. Which leads us to Chapter 7. How do we take it to them? Well, as Rob Raines, I think, cited yesterday, we walk up to a person and we say, hello, I love you, I've never met you before, but will you marry me? Unfortunately, tactically, that's what we do quite often. Instead, we want to take this file, if you will, and send it an invitation, all of these individuals of wealth and affluence. We want to invite them to a non-fundraising awareness event. And we want to be very overt in the message of that non-fundraising awareness event invitation. We want to talk about the fact about what your mission is. But we want to be donor-driven, and we want to make sure it's a creative event. We also know that it has to be an inexpensive event because we don't have a lot of money. We also possibly want to align a special speaker with it. But the bottom line is we mail out 3,000 invitations, and 100, 200, or 300 people self-qualify and take a big step into our universe, take that big step, because they were invited in a way that's characterized by propriety and grace. Having had that amazing event where we take them to the mountaintop, at the end, here's what we invite them to do. If you have found out today that your philanthropy and your volunteerism could be part of Friends of Juvenile Justice, I look forward to meeting you personally, to better understanding your goals for your family and for your neighborhood, for your community, for the city in which we've all succeeded and we are now stewarding. That's the big ask. That's the big takeaway. Have we earned the right to at least have a first next right step where there can be intimacy can be built? That's why we moved to Chapter 8. After that awareness event, we end up picking up the phone and we found out that people had an amazing time at the awareness event and that they are happy to have us over. And because we shared case for support and the projects and the associated dollar amounts at the non-fundraising awareness event, when they invite us over, they understand why they're inviting us over. And we are able to go over in a way where we're that much more confident. Now, when we get there, do we ask? I don't think so. I think it's our first time alone with a particular friend or couple. I think we continue to listen our way through the relationship. And they'll be very transparent. And you'll get to eventually share in a compelling way your project case, your institutional case. It could be that before we do the big major gift ask, though, we may, if we're a small organization that's new, we may want to have one more big win. We may want to do a signature ask event, an actual fundraising event. But what's great about this event is that the table hosts in the traditional banquet model that oversee your signature ask event, they were originated as people of wealth in your non-fundraising awareness event. They also have a lot of confidence because of how amazing your awareness event was. And they're able to say, you want to know what, if that's what that experience was like for me, I'll trust this group and I'll bring my network to bear in an ask event environment because I'm sure it's going to be a good time will be had by all. Now, I want to do another banquet like I need a hole in my head. So if I can avoid doing the banquet and if I can go from Chapter 8, Cultivation, and jump up right to Chapter 10, Campaign Leadership, sometimes we don't do the signature event, meaning that the signature event is optional. However, what's not optional is that after the awareness event or after the awareness event and the signature event, the campaign cabinet emerges. I'm a big fan of the idea of a campaign cabinet. You may also know that though I believe it's great for board members to fundraise, I think to place the mantle of ensuring that the board must fundraise collectively may not, we may miss some opportunities to have some amazing people serve us and govern us at the board level. I also think we have amazing board members who may not find that they enjoy and their time is well invested personally. It doesn't life them to be out there fundraising. And I don't want to miss the opportunity for them to serve. So we don't place the mantle of fundraising on the board. We invite board members to serve on the corresponding campaign cabinet, or the leadership cabinet, or the fundraising cabinet, where we can have board members and non-board members alike emerge and do this. They decide that in this particular case, let's say it's a $3 million campaign, that in order to raise $3 million, we know that we have to have one 20% gift, and that gift will be in the amount of $500,000, and that we're gonna have to do 3 asks for it. We also know that we have to have 3 10% gifts in the amount of $250,000, and that we have to do 9 asks for it. We know that we have to have 10 5% gifts at $100,000 each, and that we have to do 15 asks for it. And we're going to find out that this campaign leadership team will identify 80 individuals that are going to give 40 gifts that are going to reach goal. And because there's 5 to 7 people on this campaign cabinet, they know that they each have to do 5 visitations. 5 to 7 visitors, each doing 5 visits over a period of 6 months to do 80 asks to get 40 gifts to reach goal. And they do that in what we call the campaign interview. Now, we've talked a lot about feasibility studies and how we see that 95% of feasibility studies are unnecessary. It's just the transfer of money from a nonprofit to a consulting firm. It does not necessarily result in any way, shape, or form an organization being advanced, that it is a broken model, it is an archaic model, and that it's actually unhealthy acts of triangulation. There's a clinical term for a therapeutic clinical term for a dysfunctional family. I'm not going to talk to you, I'm scared of you, I'm going to hire a third party to talk to you. Where with a crack campaign cabinet who understands the community, veterans fundraisers serving on it, and friends, if you'll just wait for that right campaign co-chair for that campaign leadership team, they will lead the interview process, where we'll sit down in existing relationships that have been well cultivated. Because look at all the different things that we did before we even sat down. Instead of having an ask at the beginning, like let's do a feasibility study, we do all these amazing things to earn the right to invite a person then to give that 5, 6, or 7-figure gift. And we do it using the 3-part ask. We invite a person to continue their smaller annual fund gift, ongoing, multi-year. We invite them to make a one-time stretch gift, the biggest one they've ever made in their life. And then we ask them, have they considered our organization in their estate plan with a gift to our endowment? With all of that being said, that leads us to campaign success. And then, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, that may be all I know about the raising of money. Major gifts ramp up. What do you think?